Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Road Coach Podcast, the show where I share what I have learned through years of living on the road through research and experimentation, so that if you are like me and you spend a lot of time away from home, you can hopefully not only survive, but thrive, even when you are out of your element. As always, if you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, really appreciate it if you check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/at the Road Coach Podcast, where you can see all the visuals that I'm putting up on the screen as we go along. And if you'd like to support the show, please visit us at patreon.com/the Road Coach Podcast. Today, I wanted to talk about visualizing and manifesting your goals. The term manifestation is all over the internet these days. People have mantras that they use. People have visualization boards. People do meditations to visualize their goals and things like that. And manifestation is one of those things that, although I believe it is important, manifestation alone is a little bit of an empty promise. And you're kind of fooling yourself if you think that you can just visualize an outcome and it will somehow materialize in your life without the action that goes along with the desire to actually achieve success. And when we're on the road, I think that a lot of us have goals that we want to achieve, and it's very easy to get sidetracked or distracted or to procrastinate because we're so busy all the time and we're constantly out of our home comfortable environment that it is very easy to let a lot of time go by without working on anything. And so manifestation in and of itself is a good thing, and visualizing your goals is a good thing, but you need to follow a bit more of a process to continually act upon those goals and those dreams if you ever want to bring them into reality in the world. And so today I just wanted to share my process for visualization and realization of goals that I use throughout my life when I'm on the road. And it helps remind me of my most important daily actions that need to be taken to get closer to my goals, even though there are so many other uncertain things happening from day to day. And so this process, although it starts with visualization, or what a lot of people now call manifestation of what we really want, it's the process that I use to take it from that point to being something real in the world. And it's essentially a 6-step process that I use. And I've just used this process and coined some terms. Or I shouldn't say coined some terms, but these are the terms that I use that are easy to remember for me because they follow a bit of a sort of pattern that are easy to commit to memory. So the 6 steps are stimulate, simulate, emulate, and then reflect, refine, and repeat. So when we start with stimulate, if you think about a goal that you want to achieve, the first step in getting towards the path of realization of that goal is you need to stimulate action. So when people are talking about manifesting things in their lives that they want, typically what they're trying to do is picture what life would be like when they have that goal, or ingrain it into their subconscious so that they're already living as if that exists. And it's true. I mean, we've all heard the red car theory. If I ask you how many red cars you saw today, you probably would have absolutely no idea, or the number would be very low. But now that I've mentioned that, if I say on your way to work or wherever you're going tomorrow, I'll give you $10 for every red car you see, you're going to see a lot more red cars. And that's kind of the idea behind manifestation, is that if you are constantly thinking about this thing that you want, then and you're ingraining it into your self-conscious or your subconscious, sorry, by repeating this to yourself all the time and visualizing it in your mind's eye, then it's more likely to occur, which does have some degree of truth to it, but it takes more than that. So in this sort of process that I use to achieve my goals, stimulate is the first point in which we move towards that goal, because stimulate is how we move from a thought to an action. And so if you want to stimulate action towards any goal, when you're visualizing what you want, you need to put yourself in a very vivid picture of how you will feel when that goal is achieved. So let's say, for example, you want to increase your income in the next year by 50% more than what you earned last year. Well, what would that do for you? So you need to concretely think, what did I earn last year? What is 50% more? How much more money would that be? What would I do with that money? And how would I feel when I have that extra money? And get very, very detailed to the point where it excites you, to the point where you want to take some action. And once you've gone through that meditative thought exercise to create a feeling inside you of excitement and joy, then that feeling is what you need to hold on to every time you're going to do anything that works towards that goal. So get to a point that you have created a feeling within yourself that it's enough to stimulate action towards that goal. And then once you've created that feeling, that anchor that's going to drive you towards this goal, because remember, all action is built off of feeling. It's not built off thoughts. We act based on feeling. And so if you can create a feeling that will cause you to act, and you can move back to that feeling anytime you want to move towards that goal, or anytime you might get off track from realizing that goal, you're more likely to continually do things that progress you towards it. The next step is then to simulate. So once we've stimulated a feeling and stimulated action, we need to simulate what the end result would be. So how do we simulate, in this example, 50% more income this year than last year? Well, there's certain things that need to happen to make that occur. You need to put in place a sort of pseudo environment in which that is possible. So how do we simulate that environment for creating 50% more income for ourselves? It may be we have to do, if you're in sales, for example, you may have to do more cold calls each day. You may have to practice your presentation a little bit more. You may have to role play with your colleagues. You may have to practice overcoming objections. You may have to spend some time analyzing your results and where you could have improved in the past. You may have to do some territory analysis, whatever that may be, but put in place an artificial environment in which that already exists. So we stimulate action, and then we simulate the scenarios in which that exists. And then we move from simulate to emulate. And by emulate, what does a person who has already achieved that goal behave like? What actions do they take? How do they treat people during the day? How do they respond to situations, both good and bad, challenges and opportunities? Emulate the type of person that already earns more money, for example. And then from there, once we've stimulated action, we've simulated an artificial scenario in which that already exists, and we've emulated the type of person that already has achieved that goal, we can move on to the second phase, which is reflect, refine, and repeat. And essentially, when we're reflecting, we're looking back periodically to say, okay, created a feeling that stimulated certain actions. I've simulated an environment in which that would occur, and I've emulated the type of person that would have achieved that goal. Reflecting back on that, did I stimulate the right feelings to create the right actions? Is the environment that I'm simulating moving me more towards that goal, or do I need to tweak that environment? Am I emulating the right type of person? And maybe I'm not. And maybe I need to go all the way back to that stimulation when I'm visualizing what I want and create a stronger feeling. Or maybe I just simply need to tweak some of my actions. And when you reflect periodically, you can then refine your process. And when you refine your process, you'll become even better at visualizing and then simulating, emulating, and creating that future that you want. And then you simply repeat. So there's my 6-step process to visualizing, or to realizing the goals that you're visualizing. Stimulate, simulate, emulate, and then reflect, refine, and repeat. I hope this helps some of you out there. As always, if you are like me and you are living away from home much of the time, I hope you are not only surviving, but thriving when you are out of your element. If you have any suggestions for future topics or episodes, or you'd like to see certain guests come on the show, please reach out to me, comment on the YouTube videos, Send us a review on your favorite podcasting app, or of course, you can always visit us on patreon.com/the Road Coach Podcast and become a subscriber there to donate to the show. And you can provide tips and tricks, or you can check out the Instagram page that we have running at the Road Coach Podcast on Instagram, where you can comment on any of these videos and let us know what you think and what you would like to hear next. Until next time, I hope you're thriving.